Michael, what you live and breathe, your team normally reflects, and you must be doing all the right things at the present because you've set the bar very high.
Yeah, we've had a strong start, which we're delighted with. Obviously, it's nice to have 7 points from 3 games and two tough away games in there as well. I think midweek Swansea's a difficult game because of the distance and the quality of the opposition, and so we're very pleased with the start we've made. But we're under no sort of illusions that there's a lot of work to be done. But the players have, I thought performance on Tuesday night was really, really good. And that's the standard that we have to try and maintain throughout this season.
You're hoping, obviously, like all the fans, that it's not a case of after the Lord Mayor's show, and Nottingham Forest are pointless at the moment and they have a very good manager. They'll be keen to change that. How do you see the game panning out, Michael?
Yeah, look, they've obviously not picked up any points in the 3 games, but if you look at the games, I think, there were 2-1 defeats, so they've all been very, very close, and probably Chris probably looks back and think they could probably easily have maybe taken, at least a draw and possibly a win out of some of those games. So it is just the nature of the league. Sometimes last season I was left scratching my head how we'd maybe lost games or dropped points in games. So, but equally, it's never easy when you don't get off to a great start. So we have to make sure that they realise they're in a very, very tough game from the outset. Be on the front foot and ask questions of them, but they've still got some very, very good players. Obviously they've a really experienced and successful manager, so it's going to be a tough game. I don't envisage that we're under no illusions. We don't think it's going to be any easier because of the start that Nottingham Forest had. If anything, it'll prove to be more difficult.
There'll be certainly no problem with complacency, and you must be very pleased about the consistency that you've displayed so far, because as you mentioned on Tuesday, you've got the youngest ever defence and they're not conceding space, so everything's looking pretty good that way.
Yeah, we obviously have, at the minute we're playing with there's a lot of younger players in our team, and as I said previously, I think possibly in the starting lineup against Swansea we maybe had 7 players 23 and under, so that's very encouraging. You still need your right experienced players as well, but what I do feel is there's an energy in the team that maybe wasn't there in the past, and we're going to need that as the season progresses. The young back three have done extremely well. I think they've all got ambition and credentials to play at the top level, so that's good. They're ambitious, they're driven. And the goalkeepers had a strong start to the season as well. And, that we were disappointed. You could sense they were disappointed to lose the goal late in the game against Swansea, because ideally, they would have liked a clean sheet. We kept a clean sheet, obviously, at Birmingham. And we know clean sheets were a big part. We did very well in that last season. So again, but we have a good group. I mean, they're highly motivated, not just that, but the players pushing them as well. Like Morgan Fox, Danny Batt starting the first game of the season, have missed subsequently the league games after that, but they themselves have a real motivation to push and get back in the team as well. James Chester obviously comes into that category as well.
From the fans' perspective, I'm going to use a technical term. I'm sure you've probably heard this before. You don't seem to have any big-time Charlies in the team at the moment.
No, I don't think. The key, I think, in any successful group is that it polices itself. And the manager shouldn't have to get involved unless it's very necessary. What I do feel is, because we have a much more streamlined group, we have a lot of we have the right amount of competition for places. When you have too many disillusioned or unhappy players about your building, it's very difficult to keep the mood in the building vibrant and upbeat. But I think we've got a really good group. I think not only with the players we brought to the club on a permanent basis, but also the loan players have fit it in very quickly as well. So that's good. It's good for the players to come in and they have that feeling about the club as well. And we have to make sure that we maintain that, because there will be periods where we won't play well. There'll be periods where we won't have great results, and that's when you find out when the strength of your group is can carry you through those periods.
But with the transfer business you've done, you've got much better options on the bench, haven't you? And you've got more strikers that can rotate for those positions.
Yeah, I think we've got options off the bench that can certainly come and change the game. I don't feel we had that, in all honesty, last season enough, particularly obviously when Tyrese got injured. We were down a body in that respect. So yeah, look, I still think that, you know, at times we can be a little bit stretched. You always want that little bit of extra quality, someone to come in and change a game for you. You know, that was one of the rationale between, you know, bringing someone like Mario to the club. Obviously, has that ability. We've got Powell, we've got Klukas, players that all can affect the game, and it'll be difficult for us to start with all those players in the starting 11 at any one time. So it means that if you're given the opportunity to start, there's pressure on you to play well, to stay in the team, and equally if you have to influence the game from the bench, that you know you're of the level and you have the right mindset to be able to do that.
Well, you said you were still looking for players, and you've taken up the option to sign Romaine Sawyers on a season-long loan. What will he bring to the club?
I think he's kind of the profile of the player we felt we needed. We when we looked at those options, you know, to get that quality, generally you have to possibly look maybe into a Premier League loan where it's a younger player, and they can be a little bit frustrating getting them done. We didn't anticipate that Romaine would become available. He was obviously a big part of West Brom's promotion team, so he knows what it takes to get out of this league. He was part of a successful Brentford team as well. And I like just his profile, and having met him, you know, how he had to drop down and, you know, believed in himself and played his way back up into eventually becoming a Premier League player. He's back in the Championship now, but he has ambitions to play at the highest level again, and he's extremely well proven at this level of football. But I think anyone that knows him knows he's a good footballer. You know, he takes the ball, he makes your team play, and the more, you know, people you have in your building that are capable of doing that, the better your team will be.
Well, I think most fans would agree with me when I say that he's always played well against Stoke, so that's a bonus for having him in our squad.
Good. Well, that's good to know.
He's not played a great deal in the last few months. I'm assuming he won't be up to speed straight away.
No, he's fit in terms of you know, he's done pre-season, and he's played limited minutes in pre-season. So played some international football at the end of last season. So yeah, we'll get him up to speed fairly quickly, you know, and that I think he's a player that won't take that long, and the type of player he is, you know, he plays with his brain and as much as the physical side of the game. But I don't envisage that it'll take him too long. Probably, you know, realistically, to see the real best of him, we're probably going to be after the international break, but certainly he'll be involved between now and then.
The transfer window's drawing ever nearer to a close. Are you still looking for anybody else on the right-hand side?
Yeah, we're looking at that situation. You know, we know we've got a little bit. We've only really got Tommy that can play there in terms of a natural wing back. Tom Ince has played there, although Tom, you know, would be more of a wide player. So it's a position that we feel, you know, we may have to cover ourselves in. But again, it's finding the right calibre of player to do that. So, you know, as I say, we've still got a bit of time, but at this minute in time, we haven't found the right one.
When we talked about the transfer window last season, and even before that, you said it would take time to get the players out and the players in that you wanted. But there's been so many go out this time, and the lots that have come in look really good. You must be very, very pleased with this transfer window.
Yeah, it's been certainly the turnover of players has been, I think, what the club needed. No disrespect to the lads that left, but I just felt that we needed, you know, a fresher approach within the club. It was difficult because, you know, a lot of those players had come to the club with, you know, the remit and the responsibility to get back to the Premier League, and it didn't happen. So I think, you know, it was important that we made the changes that we did. Rather, it was important that we brought the club financially in line with where the league is as well, which I think is important. And also, you know, that we had younger players around the team, not only around the squad, but around the team as well, and in the team. And, you know, I didn't envisage we would maybe have the turnover that we've had. So it's allowed us to make a little bit more progress in terms of where the squad is now. We probably think we're a little bit ahead of where we thought we would have been at this point in time.
And while we're talking about transfer window and contracts, is there any update on Nick Powell?
Nick has a thigh injury and will be a doubt, obviously, for tomorrow. But I can't, as I said, the contractual situation will take care of itself, as I said previously. And the club obviously are aware of that situation.
And how are you with Mario Brantic? Will he be fit, do you think?
Yeah, Mario trained yesterday and today, so and has no reaction, so he'll be available for tomorrow.
And there's no other problems injury-wise?
No, everyone else is good. So yeah, we're just, it's been good. Tyrese Campbell has joined in training this week, yesterday and today, which has been good to see. Tashin Oakley-Booth will hopefully join in within the next week or two as well. So to have those two young boys back in and around the squad is always nice, and obviously gives us, added additions as well.
Well, good luck. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Hans. George now, please.
Michael, obviously one of the plus points to the very good start to the season is your ball retention and taking care of the ball, and that's happening from back to front. You must be delighted the way that's happening, and you're introducing another player who's very capable of adding to what you've already got, Sawyers.
Yeah, well, look, we've tried to be a team that build a game from the back, and certainly I think last season we had that approach. At times we were good at it. At times we struggled a little bit with it. This season I think we've looked more comfortable doing it as well. Some of that's down to personnel, and it's down to obviously the continued work on the training pitch. But the most important thing is that players, when they come, whether they're in the team or they come into the team, they know what's expected for them. So we've been very consistent with the work we've done on the training pitch, and we're obviously looking to bring players to the club with those abilities that can handle the ball. The championship, it takes all sorts to win games in the championship, so it's not just all about that. But certainly Romaine coming to the club gives us another midfield player who's comfortable in possession, passes the ball well, and gives you the the ability to build the game as a team as well.
It all starts from the back, and the goalkeepers, both goalkeepers, are quite useful with their feet, aren't they? With starting play within your own area.
Yeah, I think it's a part of the game which has become a lot more, I think, prevalent in recent years. We saw it predominantly, obviously, at the top end of the Premier League, and it's filtered down through not just into the Championship, but probably down through the leagues. And it's, I think to stop the game being a second ball, 50-50 game where you're competing, you have to be able to play from the back. You've got to be able to move the opposition around and find space, and then obviously exploit that. Look, there's a risk to it, and of course there is, and you have to be prepared to take those risks in the right areas of the pitch. Otherwise, you can get embroiled in games that have no pattern and have no real flow to them. It's very stop-start, and it's important, as I say, as a team, that we try and avoid those games as much as possible.
And touching briefly on Nottingham Forest, they say they come here looking for their first points, and you've already alluded to certainly there won't be an easy and a pushover, will it? Because the season's still very young in terms of just a few games in many ways, Michael.
Oh yeah, look, we give Forest the same respect as we'll give any team in the league. I think that, I said, they've got a top manager and they've got some really, really good players. And Chris, he will look at the games probably and think, well, they've had 3 narrow defeats and they probably could be sitting quite easily with 4 or 5 points. It's and unfortunately that for them they haven't managed to get that. But all the games have been very tight. So we expect a very, very tough game tomorrow. We've had a good start, so we have to have that belief and confidence in how we start the game and play, and hopefully we have to test where they are mentally as well, because it's never easy when you have that start, but it doesn't take away from the fact that they still have a lot of very good players in their squad.
And finally, from me, obviously, you'll know all about the news that's been recently pushed out that Dennis Law has been diagnosed with, of course, dementia, and it's vascular dementia in ways more and Alzheimer's, and a lot of people are still talking about heading the ball. It was stated that there would be reduced heading of the ball in training, Michael. Has that applied within Stoke City, or do you see it's something that has to be imprinted into the game?
I think it's something that we have to give a lot of consideration to, yeah. And we don't do significant amount of heading in training. Certainly not, kicking balls 30, 40 yards and asking people to come and head it is not something that we do on the training pitch here. Some players individually like to work on their timing to head the ball as well. Sometimes you can do that with a lighter ball, which can help in that respect. it is a very difficult thing, I think, to police, and a very difficult thing to limit within the game. I'm not sure how going forward that will, how obviously the powers that be who run the game and the rules of the game will ever be able to change anything that will limit that. But certainly, when you see what's happened, and obviously, it's very sad to see Denis Law and so many other great players as well, and of his generation, that have suffered from this. So, I will obviously, it's something that we're all aware of in here in the building, as in terms of a club and as a coaching staff as well. And any guidance that is given, obviously, we take very seriously.